You have to be in the right mental environment, and you have to find ways to get yourself into that. Everything should start with you. Bad choice is always an easier choice. And so when you come from that perspective, I'll admit there are definitely days where I do that, especially on the days where I really, really don't want to get up and don't want to go to the gym. I just take a moment, I breathe in, and I tell myself, guess what, Kyle, today you don't want to do this, but guess what, you get to do it. And that instantly makes me go, yeah, you're right. I get to do this today. I get to make the right choice for me, the better choice for me. It's going to pay off for me no matter what.
You're listening to the number one real estate podcast in the world. We talk with real estate professionals all across North America about their wins, losses, lessons, and stories help you win in your local market today. My name is Cody from Sheridan Street. I'm joined with Vikram Deol of the Real Estate Sales Academy. Vikram, what's happening, man? I hear echo. I can hear you in the other room because, you're not wearing headphones. A nice person would wear headphones, but, you're Vikram Deol.
I didn't remember I had headphones, dude.
Well, I would appreciate the headphones. That would be greatly appreciated. But what's up? Aside from not wearing headphones today on the podcast, what's good in your world?
Just now you got me off. Now you got me off
You're welcome.
Here.
You're welcome.
There you go. All right.
There you go.
All right. What's good, man? So much stuff is good, dude. I think I found a new place to live in Medellin, which is awesome.
Oh wow.
So it'll be it's like a house. It's huge. It's 3 bedrooms and a maid's quarter, 4 bathrooms, nice, beautiful view of the mountains. And
Vikram is living the dream. 4 bedroom, 3 bath.
Hey man,
that's exciting.
I got to, I'll have an office for once. Right now the housekeeper's over, so I can't have the right camera on because she's 2 feet away from me making the bed, cleaning the floors, cleaning the laundry. But I'll have my hyperbaric chamber in one room. I'll have my bike set up in another room. I'll probably go back to Miami, grab my other bike so I can have one bike on a trainer at all times, and then start getting back into cycling because it's been 7 months, dude, since I've been on a bike.
You said that to me the other day. We were just chilling out. You said to me the other day that you were not on a bike for 7 months, and I looked at you and I was like it's been 7 months that you haven't been on a bike. That just seems weird to me.
December, January, February. Yeah, this will be the 7th month
that's crazy, man.
I'm sitting on an infrared heating pad right now because when we were in Nashville, I went to a really good chiropractor, and he basically said you just have a nerve that is out of place, maybe even a couple nerves, and because of that, it's causing all of your muscles in the buttocks area to basically make a big ball of pain. And it's funny because I went to yoga yesterday, and my flexibility is really good, but because that nerve has got all the I was looking around at the class, I'm like, damn, I'm pretty limber compared to a lot of the people in here. I felt pretty good, but just everything's pissed off in that area. And I know that
it's a very scientific way of telling you to stop being a tight ass there.
Wow, Kyle. Wow. Who brought this fucking guy? Wow. Wow, dude. All right. Well, this is my Riverside and I have the powers to kick you out. Well, fucking A, dude. Jeez Louise.
You gotta take the opportunity for when there's a joke. Sorry.
You do. And a good job for you. Don't worry. There's going to be opportunities coming up. We don't normally record at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Friday. And so my mojo kicks in on a record days around 12:31 because mentally I'm prepared for a 12 o'clock, let's kick some ass.
Yeah, but let's bro.
It's just different.
You told me
I'm just more calm.
You told me 2 months ago, you're I want to start earlier in the day because I don't want to be recording at 3 o'clock. So I did that, and I listened to your request. Now you're complaining.
No, I'm just saying it's different. It's our first time. It's our first time. And so it's our first time doing it. And so
got it.
And remember, dude, we used to record
your guys' first
episodes.
time.
Yeah,
Kyle's first time punched.
Kyle's gonna get. Let's go to Long Island, New York, and let's give Kyle the opportunity to give the 60-second Cliff Notes because he keeps popping in here Who the hell is Kyle Cheng? Who is he? Who is this guy?
There was a form or function to it. Yeah.
This is what New Yorkers do, man.
Dropping tidbits, little nuggets.
They just think they can do whatever they want. Oh my God.
That really sums up being a New Yorker. You know, we jab at people and, you know, we just have little to no care for one another. But anyway,
I think that's just you, Kyle. I've met a lot of great New Yorkers.
No,
I've met a lot of kind New Yorkers.
Yeah, I mean, I've met a lot of assholes from New York too, but I've met a new one today. What's up, brother? Welcome to the podcast, man. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being here. So yeah, I'm Kyle Cheng from Long Island, New York. I'm clearly a real estate agent with Real Broker New York. Born and raised here. Will be 37 years in New York in August of 2024. And it's Chinese New Year's Eve. Happy Chinese New Year's Eve, everybody.
Do you want to give us like your bio, like your stats? Like, I mean, do you like long walks on the beach? Do you want to throw in your social security, like your blood type, like your mother's
blood type is O negative. So I know I'm very, very popular out there, especially amongst the vampiric crowd. Every time I go to Transylvania, it's a huge hit. And then let's see. I mean, so in terms of stats, etc., I let people know I'm a pretty average agent, but
not your work stats. I was talking about like do you prefer long walks on the beach, or do you like
that stuff like that,
a cozy fireplace to cuddle up at like at nighttime? Like, what do you prefer?
What Vikram's asking is like, are you on Tinder? Like that's like kind of, I think that's what he's getting at.
Are you more of a grinder type of guy?
Listen, if you got to ask, you can't afford it, buddy.
Ooh. Oh man, that's harsh. We're going in. We're going in.
It's 2024.
That's my favorite line from Beer Fest.
It's 2024. We go Dutch
for everything. You can do everything. I mean, listen. Okay, so got that. Do I like long walks on the beach? No, not really. I enjoy a good steak dinner. I like to exercise. I'm in the gym 5 days a week. I was in the gym 6:15 this morning.
Now, do you actually lift? Do you lift weights, or do you do more of like just? I mean,
so I do more. I guess what's the word? It's a HIIT workout. So high intensity interval training.
Why does going to the gym? I think this is fun. I think let's go around this route. Why does going to the gym 5 days a week in the morning? Like, who cares? Like, why does that matter?
Why does that matter? I think it matters because I want to let people know that is what has created a pattern of consistency for me, and it completely changed my life, honestly.
How so?
So go back to the pandemic, 2021. I've always been a bit of a fat kid, for lack of a better term. Always been on the chubbier side most of my life. You know, I would go through these spurts. I think a lot of people have. So like high school, I would do sports, and during that sports season, be great, enjoying myself. As soon as the sport ended, I would just fall back into terrible habits, eating junk food, not taking really good care of myself. And that pattern really continued into college, where there were no structured sports for me, and there was no like real semblance of an exercise routine. And then not until I was 21, I'm 36 now, when I started working at a gym like part-time, I was just like, oh, okay, this is cool. Hey, if I work out, I actually feel great and I actually look great. Wow, look at that. No one really, I guess I had maybe a jaded sense of this is vanity. No one actually likes working out.
That's what the media portrays,
right?
The media portrays people that work out as like just a vanity metric. But when, like in December, Cody and I were in Punta Cana with our girlfriends, and there's a video, and I told my girlfriend, I'm like, I just don't feel great. Like, it was hard to work out. Like, even though I brought, I travel with an X3 bar, which is like a band. It's like
I know all about that. It's
Okay,
tough.
so I travel with an X3 bar, and I took the X3 bar to the Dominic, but just it felt more vacation-y than it did like a routine. And like we'd go out, and I didn't eat horrible, but for somebody who was biking 3 days a week, working out 5 to 6 days a week, very regimented, any major change, any small change is a major change.
Well, I think the major change as well for us is we were also like drinking a lot too. Like when I came back from the Dominican, like I cut alcohol cold turkey. Like I haven't drank anything since like
it's not
January
you say
the 1st.
Turkey. You say cold turkey. It's not like you were drinking every night like a fucking
I wasn't
sailor.
Yeah,
bro, I cut drinking cold turkey. I'm like, Cody, were you drinking were you sneaking booze in the bathroom?
No, but like let's call it like a beer a day,
nights a week.
Yeah, I would say almost every day. I would say almost every day.
You drank more than I did. I would drink with cigars.
Yeah,
Nice.
So you get into it's funny how life kind of like puts you in different routines. It's like when I landed back in Medellin, like I got back into the health routine of like going to the gym every day, trying to eat better, going to the gym. So why do you think that it's so easy? Like I want to hear from both of you guys that it's so easy to like find rhythm in the routine, and then rhythm and routine breaks. And I think this happens in business and personal life. And like,
this happens everywhere.
Oh man, like for me, like it's like I'll go through seasons where I'm like, I'm so productive, everything's going really well personally in regards to going to the gym, eating well. Like I look at like last year when I was doing the 75 hard, there's like a consistent rhythm and routine. It's like then 4 months later, you're like, oh my God, I'm cut as shit. But the same thing happens in business. It's like we prospect, we do social media, we do all of these things. It's like, why do you think the ebbs and flows happen in life and business?
You don't do, so there's two reasons why, and let's see what Kyle thinks. There's two reasons why, and I'll make it short. The first is we have a self-image of ourselves, right? So if our self-image goes too high or goes too low, we call it the thermostat, right? So a lot of you guys have heard this before, but our self-image goes too high. Ooh, six-pack, that looks really good. Oh, well, I'm not an athlete. I've never been an athlete before. Okay, or I'm not a healthy person. I've never been healthy, or my family's not healthy. And all these things that like came up when we were younger start to show back up again. So for me, like I could tell you straight up, I get really fit and then I get really fat. And fat for me is like 10 pounds, but I'm like, oh, I don't like that belly. My pants are a little tight, right? And I can drop it, but it's a lot harder at 40 to drop it than it was at 30. Like 30 was like okay, I just don't eat for 2 days and it's back off. Now I'm like, oh man, this is a lot harder. But it's that self-image, right? So if we cross too high on our self-image without working on our self-image, like I was talking to my therapist yesterday, been about 1.5 years since I talked to him. He's like, dude, you're a totally different dude. So when you work on yourself and you're happy with yourself, then your self-image changes, right? And the second thing, right, is that when we go through ebbs and flows of business and life, we get too good, right? We get too good and we get complacent. It's like, oh, I don't need to do that. That messaging people on the DMs, right? I did 10 a day. Oh my God, I brought in 10 clients last month. I don't need to do that as much. I could do 5. And then you go to 3, right? So we allow ourselves that slippery slope of ebbs and flowing, and accountability is where it comes down to. If you don't have the accountability, then you easily let yourself off.
Absolutely. Very true point there. I completely agree, especially with that last part. In terms of the accountability that you have to yourself, it's obviously always easier to let yourself down versus letting other people down. And then I think that, the bad choice for comparing like eating healthy or exercising more versus eating whatever you want and skipping the gym that day, bad choice is always an easier choice. And so when you also come from that perspective, you're calling this bad, you're calling this good, you obviously go ahead and just take the bad thing for that day. And I'll admit there are definitely days where I do that for sure. And I try to, especially on the days where I really, really don't want to get up and don't want to go to the gym. I just take a moment, I breathe in, and I tell myself, guess what, Kyle, today you don't want to do this, but guess what, you get to do it. And that instantly makes me go, yeah, you're right. I get to do this today. I get to make the right choice for me, the better choice for me. And because I get that opportunity, I know it's going to do, it's going to pay off for me no matter what, whether it's tomorrow, 10 years from now, it's going to pay off.
Yeah. I've heard, the most common thing that I have it's not really common. The thing that really shifted my perspective was when one of our mentors said, there's only two ways to change your life. You either change your environment or you change the people that are in it. And like when we got back to Medellin, like, I don't know what it was like from an environment perspective, Vic. I don't know if you had this, and I don't know, like, Kyle, if you've ever had this in your own life around, like, obviously Vic, you were chatting about accountability. It's like those are the people that hold you to a higher level of standard. But there's also a level of environment about, like, and for me, it's like when I'm in Medellin, it's like, I don't know what it is. Like all of a sudden, like something clicks in me. It's like, okay, this is my routine in Medellin. So I'm curious, like, to know, like, how do you guys foster that for your own lives? Like to essentially be high performers, both personally and professionally, because you're both obviously like, like you said, hey, I wake up at 6:15 in the morning and I make the choice to go to the gym. And I know Vic is a very similar person that way, where he's like, it's like, hey, if I could be on a bike right now, I would. How do we foster an environment, and how do we help agents understand that their environment matters, and like what can they do in order to kind of like, maybe they're just in like what they think is like a crappy neighborhood, or maybe they just like they just don't like necessarily have the ability to kind of create that environment. It's like kids are running around in the background. It's like it's often hard to kind of create the environment that allows you to feel good. But how have you how have you fostered your environment to make sure that you're able to perform at a high level? And then B, how would you recommend other people foster their environment in order to make sure they perform at a high level? I want to hear from both you guys.
Sure, Cody. I'll chime in first here. This may sound very out there, but I think the first step in terms of environment starts in here. You build this in terms of your self-improvement.
He's pointing to his head for those of you listening.
For those who are listening to this, I'm pointing to my dome. Yes, exactly. And it's not that your forehead or anything like that. It's inside, right? You have to be in the right kind of mental environment, and you have to find ways to get yourself into that, because I think that everything should start with you. I kind of always think about that horrible idea of on an airplane when the masks drop down, they immediately tell you to first put your mask on first before you help anybody else. And I've always thought of that as kind of a selfish thing, but when it comes to building my business, and I changed the environment that I worked in pretty recently, May of last year. And now I've had time to reflect on that, and I can see that I was at my last brokerage due to kind of a blind loyalty. I was very good friends with the people that I was around, but I could tell that I wasn't always around the higher producing people. And so when I tried to even get in front of those people a little bit more, they were super hesitant to kind of share ideas with me, super hesitant to kind of take me a little bit under their wing.
Isn't that funny? Like the scarcity mindset in our industry.
Yeah, and I didn't see that coming, really. And so now that if I'm going to think back onto it now, it probably created a lot of mental blocks in me that I didn't know were there before, and like I am now doing prospecting techniques, scripting, working on my tonality and voice, a lot of stuff that I watch Vikram for. And I thank him for that.
I take money too, bro. Like I thank yous are great, but credit cards, like MMR, like monthly reoccurring revenue, that's also acceptable as well. But no, I'm just messing with you, dude. I'm super happy to hear you say that, because that's great.
And I'm I'm trying hard not to kind of kick myself in the ass for being like, if I was doing this 5 years ago, I would be in such a different position in my business. But
Yeah, but you didn't know
again,
what you didn't. You didn't know what you didn't know 5 years
you know
ago
what I
either.
didn't know, right? So
Yeah, so
I'm
give
getting
yourself
to
some
it
grace.
now, and I'm building a better business for myself, and it feels great.
You know, like discipline is, and I appreciate you for being vulnerable and sharing, because it's hard for real estate agents, right? So like there's two things that really mess up our world. One is the media is completely against us, right? Like if you post something on Facebook that is like stupid, it gets blown up. If you post something that's good, it gets a third of the viewers, right? So like bullshit content gets a fuck ton of activity. Good content gets shoved under the rug, right? Because everybody wants to do what's easy. And America is the most obese. Like we live in Latin America. I've been here for 18 months. The minute I go back home and I start to eat, I instantly feel the swelling in my hands. And I only eat, like when I go back home, I'm straight carnivore. But even the meat that is like the good meat, especially like when I go visit my mom, I'm like, hey mom, check the front door. My local meat people delivered like 80 pounds of steak. She's like, how long are you here for? I was like, it doesn't matter, mom. Like when I leave, you have good food. She's like, that meat's so tough. It's not easy. It doesn't taste as good, right? Because we've been trained to eat shit. And like all of my friends that are nomads or all my friends that travel a lot and they come back home, right? They all, like even Ty Lopez on his Instagram or Facebook page said the same thing. He's like, holy crap, I feel like shit. And I've been back home for a week. Right.
Yeah.
So like the whole, the US has unfortunately been plagued by big corporations bribing their way through. And we are at a disadvantage because it's not body shaming, it's health, right? My dad's a wellness doctor. When somebody gets a heart attack, my uncle's a regular doctor. When they both had heart attacks. They both were told to do certain things, lifestyle changes. We are plagued because the media wants everybody to be complacent because those make better employees, right? When the Rockefellers created schools back in the 30s and 40s, they didn't create schools to make thinkers. They created school to create employees, right? So we are plagued, which is why it's so hard to be successful in business, right? But it's so easy to get into business, right? To be a salesperson, you don't have to go to sales school. But to be a cosmetologist, you have to go to 1,400 hours and it costs 20 grand. But to become a salesperson and you say, hey, I'm a salesperson. No, you're not. You're not educated. You're not trained. You didn't go through the schooling. You didn't learn anything. So we have to start to figure out, like from a mindset standpoint, that we do the things we need to do, not because we want to do them, but we do them because it's for our future self. It's not about your feelings, right? Like when people tell you, like, when my dad says to somebody, hey, you're overweight, it's not that he's trying to hurt their feelings. He's trying to save their lives, right? But this country's become so soft. Like my girlfriend, she's Latina. She's seen her neighbors. All of a sudden one day there's no more family and there's just a widow. What happened? The whole family was killed by the cartel. That's real shit, bro.
Yeah.
Our problems in America don't compete. And she's like, Americans just make up problems because they're bored. So we have to start to really, really recognize where we're creating problems and where we're not. And if you want to live a life, and like, dude, I fall off the train and everything, right? It's just part of being a human. But what you have to do is the fall offs have to be shorter. So if your previous fall off was 9 months and now it's 6 months, you've improved. Congratulations. Give yourself a hug. If it used to be 6 months and now it's 3 months, you improved. Give yourself a hug. If it went from 3 months to 3 weeks, like, oh my God, like 3 weeks to 1 week, 1 week to 4 hours, right? Like, and it might take you 5 years to get to that point, right, Cody?
Yeah.
To answer your question, but we constantly should be striving to be better, healthier, more successful, richer, right? Because money solves money problems, and we were put here to create. Money is the barometer of how much we're giving back to society, right? So the more successful you become, but it all has to be something that I do daily. Not, and the other thing is a lot of times people go, oh, I woke up, I had something bad in the morning, right? So I'm just going to wipe this day off the slate. Oh, I didn't make my calls in the morning. So, well, you can make them at lunchtime. You can make them in the afternoon. You could you could do some DMs, right? You could send 11 o'clock, just send out 15 DMs, 10 people see it in the morning, 2 people respond. Like, but you don't have to write the whole day off just because you missed waking up on time.
So here's the thing, and I want to pick up where you left off, because I know that Vic, unfortunately, is banned from a lot of these Facebook groups. I don't know what you said or what you did, but Vikram's not allowed.
You called them all fat. My God.
Yeah, I know. Vic's a dick.
That's 80% of the world, unfortunately. And I don't say you're fat. I say you're unhealthy. It's not that you're fat. It's just we're unhealthy, and it's bad. Like, you can't say you care about the world and telling me to recycle when you're consuming so much that you're actually like hurting yourself. It's crazy.
So that's not why Vic was banned from these Facebook groups, these real estate Facebook groups.
No, it's because our team was posting call to actions, and we got banned for putting links in call to actions.
But I want to pick up.
Who cares?
I want to pick up where you left off there, Vic.
Bitch in there.
Well, and that's what I want to talk about for a second, because I think that we're all on the same page when it comes down to, it's like, ultimately we're in control of our own destiny. And oftentimes, like, you'll hear good questions that come out of these Facebook groups, like, hey, like, I had this specific circumstance, how would you handle this? Okay, that's like that's what a Facebook group is for. It's like, let's collectively come up with a solution to somebody's problem, or it's like, what's the best CRM? Totally. So it's like, we can get it. We're going to get into the tech talk I eventually, but I want to hear from both of you guys, because like Vic hears me bitch about this all the time, because everyone, like, they hop into these Facebook groups and they bitch and they moan and they complain about about either the market or about, a lead gen company, or about, a coach, or about just the industry, or about buyers and sellers not wanting to choose to actually work with them. There's a lot of bitching and moaning that's happening in real estate Facebook groups. And we're talking about collectively taking responsibility, both personally and professionally, for your results.
Dude, so, it's because we live in a world. We live in a world, like, this is why I talk about the media. We live in a world where you are told not to take care of yourself. We live in a world where it's easy to get in. So if it's easy to get in, it must be easy to be successful. We live in a world that is a false reality. Like, taking care of yourself is hard. You have to sacrifice the chocolate and the dessert, right? Hormozy says never skip dessert. That's the dumbest shit you could tell a country that's already overweight. That's a fucking stupid shit, Alex. Like, you're a smart dude, but that's some dumbass shit to say, because that makes him likable, right? Like, I know he's Sharon's buddy, and I know one day I'll meet him and I'll tell him, dude, never skip dessert. It's dumb to tell a country that's morbidly obese and dying of health disease every day. Like, you should really have a better phrase, because you are a leader, whether you choose it or not. The people complain because learning the skills is hard. Buying leads is easy, but learning the skills to convert is hard, right? Buying the gym membership is easy. And like, even inside my course, we have some people paying, for their team members, and I can see inside every day how much percentage points you've completed of the course. There's people that have been in there for 6 months that still do just, they're doing better, but they're not where they want to be. And I'm like, bro, go to the course. And we meet at our advanced class, we meet up to 6 times a week. Even with that much training, they still fall back. And when we role play, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I went back to the same thing. I'm like, here's your accountability. You've done 3% of the course.
And I want to hear from Kyle here, because like, you mentioned something earlier that was really interesting to me. You said, like, hey, I didn't know what I didn't know. And then when I made the decision to kind of move brokerages and be around people that are high achievers, that are willing to give freely to me to help me learn, now I look back and I'm like, why did I stay there so long? So it's like, with all this in mind, with people that are like bitching and moaning and complaining in Facebook groups, it's like, what can you give them as advice in order to kind of push themselves towards success?
And the first thing I would tell, anybody that's kind of complaining or if you're struggling, that's fine. If you're complaining about something, just remember that nobody owes you anything.
Damn. Kyle's just cranking them out today.
Your neighbor that, listed with somebody else didn't know you anything.
Your friend.
Your aunt that referred, a different agent, she didn't owe you anything. It's up to you to, so like when I tell people what my job is, I don't tell them that I'm a real estate agent. I don't tell them that I sell buy homes. I tell them that my job is to constantly remind people that I help them, I sell and invest in real estate. That's it. That's literally my job. And if I want to be successful, I have to do that. Whether that's making phone calls, sending DMs, putting out content and sharing that content everywhere.
By the way, your Instagram content's hilarious.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And having more conversations about real estate and letting people know that, like, hey, it's not your responsibility to reach out to me and tell me when you're ready. It's my responsibility to let you know that I'm always ready to have this conversation with you. So that's for starters, right? And then in terms of just like, finding people that are going to hold you accountable to it, and recognizing that, again, I also don't owe my brokerage anything. I have the right to go off somewhere and make business the way that I want to do it. I have to take a chance on myself. This is what I did, right? I left a very well-established kind of brand where I was for several years, and it was super comfortable to be around those people. And I still remember it, right now, getting choked up, like I walked into my broker's office crying. I let him know, like, hey, I love you, but I no longer agree with the vision of where this company is growing and where it's going to. It's very good for maybe you. It's very good for maybe some other people that are here. It's not good for me. So I'm out.
Oh, you said something interesting, and Cody and I talk about this a lot. I would say less than 3% of agents ask people they talk to for an appointment. And I don't have the stats to back that up. Cody's company tracks teams that they work with, and they're around 7%. As they get through more calls, I bet you that number is going to drop, but they're at about 1,000 calls right now, which is a pretty high number. It's a pretty good number to check, and it's around 7%-ish. I believe it's lower because those are people that have access to training, access to our calls, access to playbooks, right? They have more access than the average agent. And you said it's not my responsibility to wait for them to call me. It's my responsibility for me to go out and find them. And what most agents do, which is one of the number one challenges that agents have, is they don't know how to ask for an appointment. They probably don't know how to ask for an appointment because they don't know what to do once they get inside the appointment, right? Like, right. I'm not going to, and I can give you guys a very honest opinion, like a very honest story. When I was starting the Real Estate Sales Academy last year and I didn't have my program built out, it was very hard for me to talk to agents and say, hey, come join me, because I didn't have my back end. I knew what I wanted to look like, but it didn't look like that then. Yeah. Right. And the people that joined us last year, like, they stuck with us because they saw the progression of the courses. I had like 4 months where I just worked on the courses. And I didn't sell a lot. Like, I looked back at my QuickBooks and I was like, oh shit, there was 4 months where I made no new sales. And I'm like, and I was talking to people about it, and it's like, what happened, right? When you reflect, you grow. And I didn't have the processes in the back. And I share that with you guys openly and vulnerably, because if you don't have an awesome listing presentation, or if you don't have an awesome buyer's consultation,
you're not going to do it.
Because it's scary.
You put it perfectly. And this, I personally, again, I'm not even with Real, and I'm going to pump Real's tires right now, because we were in Nashville at the Buyer Mastery event, and probably 250-ish agents there learning how to do probably one of the best buyer presentations that I have ever seen, I've ever heard. And for those that don't know Sharon Srivatsa, he walked them through the step-by-step process of how to do a really great buyer presentation. And I agree with you, Vic. I think the vast majority of agents don't ask for the appointment because they don't know what the hell they're going to say at the appointment, which is the back-end process that so many people are missing. And And I'm curious, like, but you guys, hear me out here.
Yeah.
Like, I'm curious because you guys have both been with multiple brokerages before. And
what are you saying?
Why?
I'm a brokerage whore? Call me
Yeah,
a brokerage whore?
You kind of are. But you both have been with multiple brokerages before. Like for you, Kyle, you've been with one other brokerage, it sounds like. Like, why is it that when you join a brokerage, they don't give you the standard? Like, why don't they? Like,
No, they give you the standard. They give you the standard. It's nonsense.
But like even like, do they even are they giving people a buyer presentation, like what to say when you go to a meeting, what to say when you go to a listing?
No, they're not. They're giving you the brand, right? And saying like, here, if you're not sure of yourself, lean on this, right? And you allow the consumer to understand that we're professionals based off of the name that's on this, very nice looking folder. And
a lot of times the folders aren't even nice because the agents don't want to splurge the $3 for the folder. You guys, I'm not saying this to
you're being honest though. Yeah, you're being
honest.
honest.
I'm not saying this to be condescending. I have seen it inside of the brokerage community. I've been in 4 brokerages now. I'm with Real, right? If you guys want more information with Real, Kyle and I would love to co-sponsor you. All right. Like we're not greedy. We would love to be your guys that help you. I'll help you with sales. Kyle will help you being nice. It's because the person that took over, like the reason why brokerages are brokered is because you have 36 companies in a small geographic area. Each company has a brick and mortar. Each brick and mortar needs a managing broker. Each managing broker needs a trainer. Each trainer, right? So now you have 36 people instead of just having one collaborative group. The other problem is that when you have 36 trainers that you need, well, I'm not going to be a company trainer to a bunch of brand new agents that are going to fail because it's so easy to get in. So who do they hire? They hire the person who didn't have a lot of success, but has enough success to stick around, but they've done 4 to 6 transactions. So they talk about their brand colors. Oh, you need to go out on social media. None of that shit matters if you don't know how to talk to people.
Yeah.
Right? Like you go out on social media, if you don't know how to talk to people, none of that, dude, you can be the funniest person in the world. I had a gal named Neha that worked with us. She ended up quitting after 2.5 months. Why? Because her performance sucked and she didn't want to do the work. She thought that if she joined the program, she showed up to a couple of calls, she was going to automatically become a hero. And then the people that reached out, because her social media game was tight. Like it was tight. She was bringing in 10 leads a week, 10 inbound leads a week from her social game. It was tight. Like she's a good looking girl, lives in the downtown, cute little fucking dog, all the little cute little things. She couldn't she couldn't get a commitment from anybody. I hate the word close, a commitment or a next step because she didn't have the skill. Well, then when she realized what it took to build the skill, she's like, well, that's a lot of work. I don't want to do this. I didn't sign up to learn how to communicate. I just want to know how to get more contracts. It's like, you guys, the brokerage model's broken because the trainers that train don't actually do business, unfortunately. And you guys can hate me for that, but that's the truth. And the ones that do, they only train a select few of rock stars that they pick out because they don't want to spend a bunch of time training a newbie and fielding 1,000 questions to make a 15% bonus when I could go sell 6 houses that month and make 150 grand.
100%. And I wish we could go for another hour. I have a meeting here in like literally 3 minutes. And so we got to wrap this thing up. This is we're going to have to have you back on, Kyle.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
This is
totally
a ton of
different.
fun. Yeah, totally different. Tons of fun.
No tech.
No tech. We were going to chat tech. Maybe next time when we have you on, we'll talk about tech because this was about technology. But Kyle, if somebody wants to reach out to you and they want to jam with you, maybe about the Real opportunity, maybe they want to jam with you about an agent referral, maybe they want to follow you on Instagram, where is the best place that we can send them for them to have a conversation with you?
Listen, if you need to know the state of your real estate, simply call your agent, Agent Kyle Cheng. My number is 516-983-3250. You can find me on IG at Agent Kyle Cheng, Facebook at Agent Kyle Cheng, TikTok at Agent Kyle Cheng, YouTube at Agent Kyle Cheng.
Damn. He makes it super easy for you to go to all the socials and find him.
I feel like if at this point you don't follow Agent Kyle Cheng, that's Cheng,
CHN. Thank you.
Yeah, I got you, bro. I got you. It's a,
Now
it's an
everybody
E,
be
not an
like,
A.
Kyle Cheng with an A.
Yeah, it's
My
not
following some random doctor on Instagram.
yeah.
Yeah.
Why has he got to be a doctor, bro? Why can't he just be like a normal dude?
Come on, Vikram. He's always a doctor. Always a doctor.
Always a doctor.
You Asians, man. I'll be the tech guy and the Uber driver. You guys are the doctors.
You're definitely not going to be. You're definitely not going to be the tech guy. But
yeah,
Kyle, want to say thank you for joining us today, and I want to say thank you for tuning into another episode of the RE Agent Podcast. You got any value today? All we ask is you leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify. Trying to reach more agents, trying to help them win in their market today. Vikram, I'll see you soon. Kyle, I'll see you soon. We'll see you soon.